UC Berkeley law professor John Yoo joins us now. Trump calls this a kangaroo court. That's a pretty strong language to be using. Do you agree with that? Is it that bad?
I think actually, despite having a judge who's certainly not on the Donald Trump side and a prosecution that has really concocted a charge here that doesn't seem to violate any laws yet, I think Donald Trump's lawyers and Donald Trump himself have tactically done a great job in this trial. They are showing strength by keeping their defense very short, really just bringing on Bob Costello, who's a very compelling witness, a guy who's made his life telling truth to New York juries to undermine the credibility of Michael Cohen. And for the prosecution to end its case, to have everything turn on Michael Cohen, a serial perjurer, someone who judges have called a serial liar, that's actually really good for the defense. So I think actually I think Donald Trump is getting his fair hearing in the courtroom, despite all of these obstacles, despite the bias of a prosecution and perhaps a judge.
It sounds like a jury verdict of not guilty is what you're expecting. Are you?
I would be surprised about that, too. It's very hard for me to see 12 jurors unanimously agreeing that Donald Trump is innocent, although I think on the law, he should be, because I don't think that the prosecution has actually proven the illegal elements of its crime. That's why it diverted into dragging Donald Trump's character through the mud and having Stormy Daniels testify at length about things that are really irrelevant to a claim that's really about bookkeeping and accounting. So I think if I had to bet my own money, thank God I don't, but if I had to, I would bet a hung jury. I would bet that the jury would not be able to come to a unanimous verdict, and then it would all be wiped away, and the prosecution would have to decide whether to bring the case again.
Do you think that, I'm going to call these trials a circus. Do you think that New York's judicial system is in good standing after these trials?
No, and I think that's a point that President Trump just made there, that others have made, is that New York is the financial capital of the United States for now. Many wealthy people and businesses in the financial markets all operate there. But after they watched what the prosecution, who's elected, right, the prosecutor's elected by the people of Manhattan, what they've done to Donald Trump, if you have a choice of where you want to move, why not live in Florida or Texas, where you won't be subject to this kind of politicized prosecution?
Last one, if I may, Professor. The judge's instructions to the jury. I don't know when they come, but I'm told they are extremely important for the outcome of the case. Is that accurate?
Yeah, they can be very important, because it's where the judge tells a jury, you should forget you ever heard this. You should pay attention to this. You should exclude that from your considerations. You only need to find A, B, or C. I'm not sure in a trial like this whether the jury instructions will make that much of a difference. For example, all the Stormy Daniels testimony is mostly irrelevant to proving this case. I don't see how a jury could forget that. On the other hand, a judge, if he were being neutral, should say, you have to find that there's some greater felony here that the prosecution says was enabled by bookkeeping. And so far, the prosecution has not proved what that is. I haven't even told Donald Trump what that is. That itself is unconstitutional and would be a good grounds to reverse on appeal.
Interesting. Professor John Yoo, thank you very much for joining us this morning, sir. Always appreciated.